What's up everybody, and welcome back to another Are They Accurate video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Fantastic Four First Steps set, which unfortunately we only get one, whereas we used to get like 2 to 3 sets for good movies like this, but we'll only be able to take a look at that one set today. Now this is the first movie of Phase 6, and they kicked it off in a pretty good way with a good movie. There may be spoilers along the way, so do watch out for those. If you haven't seen the movie, obviously come back and watch this later. Alright, so the only set we get in the wave is 76316, Fantastic Four versus Galactus construction figure, which is kind of a mouthful of a name. Now, the minifigures we get here are, of course, the Fantastic Four themselves. They did use the same torso print on 3 of them, which I think is fine, especially because they did swap out that coloring on the neck for Reed Richards. Now, taking a look at Mr. Fantastic or Reed Richards, we get some pretty cool sweater-like texturing on the suit, just like the film. I think we could have gone with dual molded legs here and, done a white portion on that lower half. Now, I would prefer some leg printing here, but they're pretty scarce with that. The face, it's pretty good. They didn't just reuse a Pedro Pascal face, even though they have several from like The Mandalorian and such. I do think that the beard is a little bit much. I think it's a little bit thicker than it is for the majority of the film. Could have worked a little on that. Maybe that was from some concept art that I've seen. They did miss a huge opportunity with the hair here. They could have gone with that Doctor Strange hairpiece that they've been using a lot recently in the MCU. Would have got that little bit of the white coloring on the sides, and then also the leg extensions they built for him here, the brick built ones. I mean, I don't know why they didn't go with the the arm pieces. They even did it on that One Piece Lego set they came out with this year, but they skipped on it here. But kind of disappointing for sure. The next figure is, of course, the Invisible Woman. I do think that the torso actually works the best for her character. It's got the right coloring around the neck, and the arms are, they're supposed to be blue. So really, honestly, no problems with this figure. This is probably the best figure in here. Then we get to Johnny Storm, who I think is the worst figure, at least from a minifigure standpoint. They definitely could have given him white arms, or at least some printing to kind of match the way he looks in the film. But then additionally, his face honestly just doesn't look like Joseph Quinn to me. But the hair is really the worst part. It's got this pattern that makes it look like the hair's going up, when in reality it kind of falls over his forehead. Just really the opposite of what we're looking for here, and really not the right color in my opinion. And the last minifigure is The Thing. This really shouldn't have been a minifigure. I can't argue that he should have been a big fig because he's not quite big enough, but they need to come up with some fix because it just doesn't look great. Additionally, his arms probably could have used some printing as well here. Some of that white extends down from the neckline. But overall, just not a huge fan of this figure. They did their best since they made him a minifigure, but he shouldn't have really been. Then we move on to Galactus, who I love this Galactus build. You can see that the colors are a little bit more vibrant than they really are in the film, which actually matches up with the comics, and you can kind of see that they did a great job with the character design in the movie. But either way, I think they did a really great job here. The attention to detail is there. They used the right kind of pieces throughout the build to make it look like his shape in the film. Just really love this guy. Now, as far as accuracy to plot goes for this set, for once, this exact battle really does take place in the film. A lot of these sets, they kind of mix and match characters and builds and just give you a bunch of stuff, especially because they're only making one set. So they throw everything in there and they create this hodgepodge battle. But this time, this battle did take place. These 4 figures going against Galactus. All right, now we are missing some important characters. We are missing Franklin and, of course, the Silver Surfer, who I think would have been really easy to include in here. And I would have loved to see a Lego figure there. We could have also seen Herbie, the robot, a little build there. Maybe if we got a second set even, we could have seen the Human Torch in flame form. That would have been cool to see. Or maybe missing some locations here. We don't really have a location. I assume that this is just the battle at the bridge at the end. So we don't see that. We don't see a Baxter building, which would have been really cool to see. We don't see a flying car. That would have been an easy one to include in this set here. Could have done an Excelsior build, maybe. Lots of cool things that they could definitely, add more sets later, especially with the probable success of the film. I do hope they do that. They've been doing a lot recently, going back and adding sets for old movies. But other than that, I do think that they did a good job encapsulating the film just with this set. And if I had to give this a star rating on accuracy, I would give it 4 stars out of 5. The only thing holding it back is the figures. If the figures were good, this could be a perfect 5 stars. The build is great. A couple of the figures are good. Just could have stuck the landing a little bit better there. Either way, I am a fan of the set and a fan of the movie, so 2 good things there. Alright guys, thanks for watching. As always, like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll get back to you with another one of these videos in the future. Thanks guys.